Is OxyClean, was that Billy Mays?
It was.
Yeah, died. Well, he hit his head, but it seems
How
like
he died?
well, I believe he hit his head stepping out of a private plane, but I think it was more cocaine induced. But the head injury, kind of like exacerbated something. I'm so glad this is not on the podcast because I am talking out of my ass hardcore right now. But I know it's involved in I feel like it involved hitting his head in cocaine. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
But wait, there's more. Oh God, dude was probably coming back from Berlin, I betcha.
Let's see. Mays was found unresponsive by his wife in Tampa, Florida, after a trip back from Berlin. No, I'm just kidding. Home on the morning of June 28, 2009. He was pronounced dead at 7:45 a.m., appearing to have died sometime overnight. The Associated Press... Okay. All right, so he died overnight. It's good. Oh, wait, here we go. There was... Oh, this is hilarious. Initially, there was incorrect speculation that he had died of a head injury after he was struck on the head by luggage after an airline landing mishap where tires blew out. So that's false. Okay. And that's not even what I said either.
Hello and welcome to the Untranslatable Podcast. Today we are here recording episode 74, and our topic today is movies helping you learn foreign languages. So I'd like to start our episode out with a couple teasing questions. Have you ever wanted to become a better speaker or listener of a foreign language, but don't have the time or the money to take language classes? Or do you really want to be able to understand people talking on the street, especially their idioms and slang? Well, we have the answer for you today here at the Untranslatable Podcast, and that is some tips and tricks on how to use movies to really boost your language learning and also have some fun along the way. So without further ado, I'm here to share this wonderful episode with my good buddy and pretty soon my travel partner, my buddy Jared. What's going on, Jared?
I am so excited. Hello? It's Jared. Hair jarred if you're nasty. Slipping on gator piss.
Пожалуйста.
Follow us on Twitter, Untranslatable1, the number 1. Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast. And, as this is gracing everyone's ears, you're already witnessing some of this Instagram greatness. You're like, wow, I've never seen so many Instagram stories before in my life.
That's true.
Wow, they're adorable. And then they're gonna be like, oh, why is Don there? Slipping on gator piss. Email us, untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. Tell us your untranslatables. Tell us about your travel stories, your travel shenanigans. Tell us untranslatable sayings, untranslatable phrases, which are idioms, sayings, proverbs, things that your parents say to you that make no sense, but somehow you know exactly what they're saying when they say it to you. Kind of like, who am I, Josephine Donut? I'm sorry, right. Mom. No, you're not. No, you're not Josephine Donut. And also, spread a little love and 5-star reviews, please, on Instagram and... Not at Instagram.
iTunes and Stitcher.
Spread a little love on iTunes and Stitcher. You can spread a little love on Instagram too, but iTunes and Stitcher are even better.
Let's be real, Jared. Frankly, our listeners can spread the love wherever they want.
Yes.
Any social media account, whatever it may be. And I want to spread some early love and give a shout out to my dear friend Andrea from Brazil. And she has proven to me, Jared, what you had hypothesized when we did the episode with different types of slang and slipping on gator piss became a drop, because she has asked me, what does slipping on gator piss mean? So it is slowly becoming...
Would you tell her?
what did I tell her? I think I told her something along the lines of like you're
Slipping
about to
on
make a
gator
mistake.
piss.
You're getting into trouble.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Yeah.
So pretty
Yeah.
soon, slipping on gator piss will be the vernacular of everybody. Don't be slipping on gator piss now.
We got some new ones we can work in there too.
There's nothing you can do with stupid people.
You know,
That's
I mean,
true.
but that's not as good as slipping on gator piss. I will
That's
say
true.
that. Although I do like that one. I do like that
You
one.
can't play that while I'm about to take a drink. I'm going to spit on my laptop, and there goes the Untranslatable Podcast.
Vi Borny.
Oh my God, what's happening right now? I love it. I think we're just excited because we're gonna be together soon. I'm actually leaving tomorrow. I mean, in breaking all sorts of 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th walls here.
All the walls.
But I'll be leaving tomorrow night, actually, so I got a good bit of time. And Brad asked me yesterday, I was talking to Brad, and he says, have you packed yet? And I was like, have I packed yet? I was like, I haven't even done the laundry of the clothes that I have to pack.
Nice.
Which I'm doing now, actually. But,
There you go.
at least to me, and I was telling him, I was like, honestly, I felt less prepared for the North Carolina trip than I do for this trip, because this trip, yes, I'm going farther, and it's more farther, Mr. English teacher?
You are going farther. Well, okay, so you're going both, because I think this trip will be transcendent. You're going to learn a lot. So you're going farther and further.
Don't let any prospective employers hear that BS. What's the actual do you know the actual
difference?
grammatical answer?
Yeah. So the actual grammatical difference is farther is actual distance.
Okay, so I
Right.
should say farther in terms of
Yes.
what I travel.
Distance. Whereas further, as I mentioned, which is also true, further is more like when you go deeper into something, right? Like I studied
true.
this subject further.
I'm going further into my travel. Anyway.
Yeah. So there you go.
But in terms of what I'm bringing, it's all the same. I'm just bringing some like clothes that I'd wear here. Maybe
Right.
I just pick out some of the nicer ones.
You're not bringing some fancy leather and chains for Berlin?
Yeah, I mean I wear those here, so
Oh, that's true. That's true.
it's just it's all the same. And I told him, I was like, honestly, I'm working. My goal here is to travel with a duffel bag and a good sized backpack. I mentioned this last time, but I was almost shocked for him to be so shocked that I hadn't even started packing yet. So I was at piano lessons yesterday, and this one was actually a normal amount of time until
Not
the
2
very
hours.
end.
Okay.
And I mentioned to her that I would be going to Prague. Mm-hmm. And she lit up. She's like, and she's like, Prague. She's like, oh my gosh. She's like, I have a student that I taught 40 years ago named Joanna Jenkins, and she is now a jazz performer in Prague, and she's been living there for blah, blah, blah years. And I taught her at Christian blah, blah, blah school, some tiny school. My teacher used to be a music teacher at a middle school, high school, elementary school, kind of,
Nice. Okay.
And I was like, oh, she's like, I give her this gift. She's like, can I send you something to give her? And in my head, first of all, I was like, really? I was like, you expect me to somehow get what are the chances? What if you hit her up and be like, hey, I got this gift for you. Come meet me somewhere. But then I thought, hold on a second. I am a professional podcaster, which my
Yes,
piano
sir.
teacher doesn't know, because if she heard this, she might have
stop
a
giving you
full-on heart
lessons.
attack.
Right.
But because she's a very God-fearing woman. But anyway, I thought, wow, this woman's from Philadelphia, and she just, she she's a black woman, and she just moved to Prague. How did that happen? How's she Prague? How's she with the language? How's the jazz scene in Prague? And I was
pretty
like,
great.
and I told her, I was like, well, my friend Chad, who I'm going to be there with, loves jazz and is a big musician, so he'd probably love to meet her too. So, I got to track this woman down, and I did. I hit her up on Instagram, but then I thought, well, she's, not to be. I don't know if this is rude, but I was like, well, I don't know if she's an Instagram person, so I'll email her later. That's a little bit more professional too.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, so
That's awesome. I hope we
we're
can
on
meet
a
up
hunt
with her.
for Joanna Jenkins, the
There we go.
jazz singer in Prague. Did you see her Instagram?
I haven't looked. No,
Okay.
you didn't tell me her name when you texted me this, did you?
I don't know.
I thought you just said you had a present for a musician in Prague or something.
Maybe I did. Maybe I did. I don't remember.
But I also have a couple contacts in the jazz scene in Prague, and I'll write one of them too and see if they potentially know her. Because the cool thing about the Prague jazz scene is there's a lot of concerts, but I think a lot of the jazz musicians know each other pretty well because it's not as big of a city as like New York, I'm assuming probably also Philly, where even maybe there though, I bet you the jazzers know each other. But yeah, we should find her though. That would be sweet.
Yeah. We're on the hunt for Joanna.
That's
and we don't
a
even
good
have that many
adventure.
days. It's great. It's kind of exciting.
Right. Yeah, we have what? We have Tuesday.
Tuesday to well, I think if we mentioned that we go to Homotov, but if necessary, I think we could. I assume we'd be flexible for if she was willing to do the day that we were planning on do.
Right.
Go, but in general, yeah, we have Tuesday, Thursday, or Friday?
Right.
Earlier on Friday.
Right. So should I plan for us not coming back here then?
No, let's wait until we have time.
All right.
We don't. What do you mean planned? What would you adjust if I told you right now? That
Well, first of all, our hotel room is for
touche.
Our hotel room
Flipping on
is-
Gator.
is
I'm getting a little
for-
aggressive here.
is for Tuesday because that's when Don comes in, right? On Tuesday. So it's for Tuesday. Plus, I figured it'd be easier going from Berlin to Prague and chill in Prague on Tuesday. Go to Komutov on Wednesday. Chill there one night and then go back to Prague Thursday, Friday.
So as of right now, I didn't specify a day. I just said Tuesday to Friday. But
Right.
we'll take this offline. This is getting a little too in the weeds now.
Right.
But yeah,
It'll be all right.
It'll
We'll
be
figure
cool to
it
have her
out.
on because I'm very curious to know what it's like for her living in Prague.
Right. Oh yeah, it'd be great. I mean, worst case scenario, we just book the hotel for another night, and just stay in Prague.
Right. You mentioned to me, speaking of this trip, that you had some more insider. So you mentioned you have a friend. Can I say his name? It's fine.
Yeah.
Krishna. He you said he gave you some insider tips. What makes these tips insider? How are they? I don't know his connection to Berlin.
So he spent, I think, 2015, 2016, maybe even 2017, all those summers doing research in Berlin. He wrote his master's thesis on, I'm not going to do it justice, but the gist of it is hip hop as a Gesamtkunstwerk. So Krishna, if you're listening, I apologize for not doing your master's thesis justice. But anyway, so he knows a lot of great spots in Berlin. He gave me some really, really good suggestions for a couple good bars, a couple places for music scene. The only bad thing about Berlin, and I've gotten very
Gigantic.
spoiled living here in Prague, is in Prague there isn't really a dress code. In Berlin there is a dress code. At
Should I
different
bring
places.
a blazer?
Tuxedo, ideally.
What kind of dress code are you saying? I joke, but I was also kind of serious.
Each place is different. Like if you go to some
Or
of the
should I
edgier
bring my
techno
chains?
places, well, you might want to bring your chains, yeah,
Or
depending, right? Because depending on the place, it's always different. Some places, if you go in wearing like a nice button down, nice pair of jeans, and a nice pair of shoes, they'll turn you away. But I'm hoping the places we'll
Like,
go
what are
are
you, the
more like
cops?
music places, not really like club places. Like actually on Friday I was looking, so I'm going there on Friday, leaving a day early. Now I gotta scope out the city, make sure it's worthy of Jared, and
I hate it when you say stuff like that. By the way, it's
I know that's kind of why I wanted to say it.
oh my god.
Anyways, there's a really cool jazz club in Berlin, and so I might check that
Oh, what a
check that
sacrifice.
out on Friday. What?
I said, what a sacrifice.
I know, right? Taking one for the team, got to do what you got to do. But anyways, so I think for a lot of these like jazz clubs in different places, there isn't really the dress code. I think as long as you're not wearing like a ripped up t-shirt and a kilt, I don't even know, you're probably fine.
Shout out to all of our Scottish listeners.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, so it should be good.
I guess
though.
they don't wear a ripped up T-shirt. They're like, how dare you?
That's true. But yeah, I think the cool thing about Berlin, though, as we may have mentioned before, is we're staying in a place that there's a lot of great stuff. We'll be staying in the neighborhood called Kreuzberg. And Kreuzberg is known as being kind of like a really, I mean, I hate using the term hipster, but it's kind of hipsterish, kind of alternative. It's really cool. It's a great place. There's great food. Yeah?
I did a little research myself, and I have a couple places that I want to know. One, if you've heard of them, and two, Turkish market.
I've heard of it, but I don't know really anything about it.
The Turkish market is right around the corner.
Oh, sweet.
And what do I didn't I don't, and it's a market. Like one thing I noticed about the Turkish market.
What?
And I would love to see you in this situation, especially in comparison to me. And I think we can make this happen.
Okay.
They mentioned that in the Turkish market, haggling is encouraged because it's sort of like I'm not going to call it flea market. I don't know if that's insulty. I don't know if it's like, because flea market kind of implies like shitty stuff, but I don't know if it's shitty stuff. I don't know what it is.
Right.
But they do say that haggling is encouraged. I would love to like compare the prices I pay to the prices you pay. You'd be like, yeah, I got a great price. It was only like $50. You're like, what are you talking about? I got this for $6.
we should do an experiment and try that. That would be fun.
Alrighty.
My tip is, I mean, I don't know. Every time I've been like, well, the only places I go where, and if the people at the market are actually Turkish, I really like going to like Turkish barbers when I'm in Germany or Austria because they always do a great job on your hair.
Do you haggle on a haircut?
I don't haggle. But the one thing I've noticed, this is what my point is, they always use the term Bruder, brother, right? Like, hey Bruder, like was brauchst du? What do you need, right? And so I wonder if you toss that term in there, I wonder if that'll maybe bring the prices down. Be like, hey Bruder, das ist zu viel. That's too much.
I think I think you make a good point, and I think there might be some truth to that. But I think that's also, I mean, they're not only dealing with they deal with plenty of people that pull that stuff on them all the time. Like even though it's coming, maybe because it's coming from an American, it might be a little different. Right. But I think it takes a little bit more sweet talking than that. But I like where your head's at.
I'm sure it does.
I like where your head's at.
I mean, I feel I can do some sweet talking. We might be able to. We'll see. I want to check this market out, though.
I look over, like I'm in a deep haggle argument over price. I look over, you're making out with a woman, and I was like, Shannon, you're trying to.
Oh my God.
What kind of haggling is this?
Right. Be like, yeah, Jared, I got this entire box of vinyl for free, man. Oh man, that's too funny. That's too funny. But yeah, that would be cool though. What other research have you done? What have you found?
The Bite Club. Have you heard of the Bite Club?
Never heard of it.
Now we have something here called Reading Terminal, and I get the feeling the Bite Club is kind of like Reading Terminal. It's like a kind of like a open market with a lot of different places, like food places.
Okay.
And then I found one other one, the excuse me, I said that like a real American. The Kreuzberg, the Kreuzberg Beach Bar. And this is
Beast or beach?
Beach, Strand. And this is
Strandbar.
Yeah, I guess so. It's called Beach Bar here. I guess it's probably maybe it's called Strand Bar there. But it's not one place. But it's along the river, and it's actually, so where our hotel is, there's like a bridge right there that goes to the other side of the Spree.
Yep, that should be the Spree.
So I'm gonna have to learn to stop doing this the Spree.
I hope you keep doing that. I hope you start using both hands.
Spree. Like Spider-Man. Spree. Right. Anyway, and it's right on the other side of the bridge, which is right there. And apparently there's like a bunch of different beaches there. For example, Badeschiff.
I have heard of Badeschiff. Can you translate that
for us?
Badeschiff? Boat? Bada.
Is that like bathtub?
Yeah, bathtub ship. Tub ship.
That's one of the beaches along the Kreuzberg Beach Bar. or there's more than these two, but these are the two that caught my eye. Freischwimmer, which I believe is a euphemism for, I mean, come on. Slipping on gator piss.
I think so.
So yeah.
So see, Jared, you don't even need a swimsuit. We're good. I'm not planning on. Are you going to bring one?
No. What am I, a child?
I wasn't going to either.
I was shocked by how much was going on in Kreuzberg. Like, obviously we will probably leave Kreuzberg to see some other
right. We have to
tourism stuff. But I was just shocked at like if we really wanted to, we could happily spend our entire time just there and be and have more than enough to see.
Easily.
That was cool.
That's the great thing and the awful thing about Berlin is that there's always something to do. But like I said, when we were originally planning this trip, I think I literally told you we could spend the entire time in Berlin.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right?
Of course. Of course. Yeah, for sure. Do you think we could spend the entire time in Prague?
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, I figured.
I think if you went to Prague though with someone and you didn't know it as well,
it would get a little old.
Maybe 4 days max, maybe. Not to.
But I'm with a professional.
Not to insult any of the Pražáks listening to this podcast right now.
Is that what you call them? Or is that what they call them?
Pražák. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a Prager.
Ich bin there, ich bin.
So yeah, but I mean, the thing about Prague is I think there's a lot more to offer than just the typical tourist sites. Whereas Berlin, I think Berlin is known for the other things other than just the tourist sites. Like people, there's a lot of people that go to Berlin just to see the Brandenburg Gate and the Holocaust Memorial and the Reichstag, the German Parliament. But I think a lot of other people go to Berlin for like the awesome street art and the culture and the food. Like I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I've heard from a lot of people, even some of my friends who live in Berlin. Berlin is not the best place to get German food. It's the best place to get other types of food,
I've heard that
Turkish
too.
food, Vietnamese food, Thai food, whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I've heard that too, and it makes perfect sense. I mean, that's any sort of big city. It offers such a wide array, and even though obviously there are plenty of places to get all that German stuff, I'm sure like for the vast majority of people living there, because it's such a giant multicultural city, most people aren't looking to have schnitzel and currywurst all the time.
Right. Right.
Like us.
I was just going to say, but I'm definitely going to be eating some currywurst.
And I'm sure you could still find great currywurst there, though, obviously.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. But yeah, it should be fun, though. That's for sure. But I think we should...
spread a little love. I agree.
Yes, sir.
I agree. Now, this one, I'm going to start. And this one is, now, dare I say, kind of a sad one.
Okay.
But, this guy, and I realized this just by the outpouring, that this guy's a legend and he deserves his due. Have you heard about Alex Trebek?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Now, have you heard? Sad. Did you hear the message? I want to play the message because
I have not heard the message.
I'm going to play it because this is some real.
Is this going to make me cry on air?
It might, but it's some real gangster Alex Trebek stuff, and it really shows why he's great. I'm going to play it real quick. Now it's gonna, the annoying thing is it's gonna, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be a professional here, and not have it just start with him talking right in the middle. But
that would be good.
So, well, I'll just let Trebek do the talking. I don't even need to give a preamble.
Well, here I would like to. I would like to give a preamble because I think a lot of our listeners abroad don't know who he is. So Alex Trebek is the host of. Is it Jeopardy? Thank you, Jeopardy. And he's been the host for a really long time. Really, really long time.
Yeah, I can't tell you for how long, but I'll look it up right now.
It's got to be at least 20 years, if not longer. That would be my guess. 20 years plus. But yeah, he seems like just a great all-around guy.
Yeah, explain what Jeopardy is.
So Jeopardy is a game show in the United States where people win... You can win what? Can you win millions of dollars or just thousands?
You can win millions because if you win, you can come back. The winner comes back, and they keep
And it's all sorts of random trivia. It can be pop culture, history, all sorts of random stuff.
Right. So he, I think he's been hosting for at least 25 years, 25 plus years.
Okay.
And the way it answers, and the way that the quick way of the way it's set up is he quote unquote this is how it's set up. It's dumb for us Americans too, by the way, at least a lot of us. But what he does is he asks he gives you an answer.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to tell him what the question would be to the answer that he has given you. So all the quote unquote questions, which are answers, are answered by saying, "What is hemoglobin?"
Right. Uh-huh.
And he's and so yeah, and so he's a staple on American television, and because this is the Untranslatable podcast, he's Canadian.
He is Canadian. Yep.
Hi, everyone. I have some news to share with all of you, and it's in keeping with my longtime policy of being open and transparent with our Jeopardy fan base. I also wanted to prevent you from reading or hearing some overblown or inaccurate reports regarding my health. So therefore, I wanted to be the one to pass along this information. Now, just like 50,000 other people in the United States each year, this week, I was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Now, normally, the prognosis for this is not very encouraging, but I'm going to fight this, and I'm going to keep working, and with the love and support of my family and friends, and with the help of your prayers also, I plan to beat the low survival rate statistics for this disease. Truth told, I have to, because under the terms of my contract, I have to host Jeopardy for 3 more years. So help me. Keep the faith, and we'll win. We'll get it done. Thank you.
Wow.
So yeah, here from the Untranslatable podcast, we're
Spread a little love.
Alex Trebek, a television legend.
Oh,
And
definitely.
By the outpouring, I mean this video has 12.5 million views. 153,000 retweets and 575,000 likes, right now. And it came out yesterday. So, the love is strong. And all it
true.
is love. We're pulling for you, Alex,
Most definitely.
So heartbroken. Miracles happen every day. People love this dude.
Absolutely. And I also like the fact that he did toss out that he isn't the only one suffering from this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think it goes to show that, he thinks of others, and I think he maybe raised a little bit of awareness as well about pancreatic cancer. And we are fortunate that we do live in a time where, although the survival rate may be low, we do have the technology in science and medicine that hopefully either he
Science
can beat
is crazy,
it or it is. Either he can beat it or hopefully be comfortable during his remaining time. But yeah, so our hearts go out to you, Alex Trebek, and also all of the people out there who have been suffering from any type of cancer.
Spread a little love.
We're spreading all the love we can here at the Untranslatable podcast. So I actually have another famous person shout out.
Okay.
And maybe you've heard about this, Jared. I may be living in the Czech Republic. I may love Europe. I may sometimes be called by some people as not your typical American. But at heart, I am still a Michigander, born and raised, very proud.
You can enjoy a steak every now and again.
That's right. That's right. And some good old American
And a
football.
baked potato.
That's right. And so my shout out goes out to Jaden Smith, because his foundation has been working to bring clean water to Flint, Michigan. So this is
nice.
5 years in the making now, and Flint, Michigan still does not have clean water.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't even know how this is possible.
Right. Me either. In a country where they say we're one of the richest countries in the world, yet we don't have clean drinking water and bathing water for our citizens. It's
However,
crazy.
we are in a state of emergency because we cannot get a wall. Though.
That's true. Very, very, very scary stuff, people. Exactly.
But for literally pennies of what that would cost, you could also just, help a city out with, ample living conditions. Whatever.
Right. Exactly. So
Spread a little love.
So big ups to you, Jaden. Thank you very much. And I'm sure all of the people of Flint, Michigan are also ecstatic to hear this news.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I would
Jared,
say so.
do you happen to know what time it is?
I do. If any, this is the Untranslatable podcast. We like to have fun here, but at the end of the day, we're here for the untranslatables.
You better believe it.
And we got some.
I have two of them, and I want to start off with a Czech one.
Mm-hmm.
So this is v zralém věku, which means a ripe age.
Ooh, that sounds either gross or sad, or both, I guess.
That's true, could be, but not quite.
A ripe age. Ugh.
It's nothing gross.
I know, but it sent a chill on my spine. Maybe I'm the problem because I thought
in English
gross.
It sounds gross.
Right.
In English, it definitely sounds gross.
Does that
but
mean
not in
like
Czech.
moving out of your parents' house?
It's more simple than that.
Ripe age. It's like you look young for your age.
So no. It's
opposite?
like
wow, you look very ripe.
It's
very ripe.
It's like, if you were to tell like a family member, oh yeah, I'm traveling to Europe by myself, going to meet up with my friend there. And they'd say, oh, you're at a ripe age, Jared, being able to travel by yourself, things like that. It was a horrible example.
I have a gross, it's my mind. That's the problem. Go off. Meet a nice European boy.
Okay, so I'm just
I
going to tell
remember
you
when
what
I
it is.
traveled to Europe. DeMarco.
Oh my God. All right, Jared. So what this is someone who is
Don't
mature
tell your grandfather.
or is an adult. That's all it is.
Yeah, okay.
To be
It
mature
so
or
it
being an
sounds
adult.
just as gross. It's still gross.
Parada.
Okay.
Parada.
Oh, whoa.
Parada.
Oh, no, what's happening?
Oh, uh-oh. Parada.
I had to close it. My hands were up. It had a mind of its own. All right, let's try that again.
Parada.
All right,
We're good.
Whew. My first one is Catalan. Do you know much about Catalan, the language of Catalan?
They speak it in Barcelona, right?
Yeah, in Valencia as well.
Okay. That's
apparently,
about all I know.
it's not apparently. It is like one of the Romance languages, or as I call it, the Lost Romance language.
Okay.
The only reason I call it that is because I don't really know much about it. And my untranslatable for it is Ferdinand Cinq Centimes. Oh, excuse me. This is Spain. They speak this, right? Let me start over.
Okay.
Come on. Ferdinand Cinq Centimes.
I don't know if that's how they say it in Catalonia, but maybe.
And
what does this mean?
I'll say it again. Let me just say it in how I think they would say it. Ferdinand Cinq Centimes. Excuse me. Ferdinand Cinq Centimes. Ooh, that's tough. Make it 5 cents is the literal translation.
Make it 5 cents. Is this what I'm going to need to use when I'm haggling at the Turkish market?
No. So
Make it 5 cents.
I can give you a perfect example. So,
Okay.
you and I, we've really just broken all lines between off-air and on-air conversation after this example. So, we were talking a second ago about how you did some market research on the Untranslatable podcast and how people were saying, oh, we love it, but it's 2 hours long. You guys talk for way too long. Shut the fliggity up.
Many fregista.
And but they didn't say that to you because they're nice and they like you. They said, we love it, but the problem is that we kind of wish you could make it 5 cents so we could listen to all of it.
Oh, just make it shorter? Get to the point?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
So
like
if you're
that.
like telling me some crazy story and I'm like, all right, make it 5 cents. Let's go.
Ah, okay. That makes sense. I like that one. All right,
Yeah.
mine is Spanish. And I think this is Mexican Spanish, but to all of our listeners in Mexico out there, correct me if I'm wrong, please. And it's 2 words, casa ajena. Ajena means other, and you know what casa means. For our listeners out there, casa means house.
Yes.
So
it's
house
like
other or other house.
my other house on my other house. My other car drives my other car. That's my favorite song. Other house. Is it other home or other house?
Oh,
Because when I hear
I'd say house. I'd say house.
I think of it as someone that's like not welcome almost.
Ooh, you're getting pretty close.
I would almost say that it's like we don't know, like we're like unfamiliar in a new place.
Yeah.
Because when I think
Yeah.
other house, like getting comfortable, is it like the process, or is it like a house is not a home without
It's-
you? I think
so-
that's Stevie Wonder, isn't it? Oh no, that's Luther Vandross. Excuse me.
Yeah. Think about you're getting really, really close. I mean, if we were playing like hot and cold, you'd be burning up right now.
I don't know where to take it. I don't know where to take it to just finish it off.
Imagine you're the guest of that house.
So does you not feeling welcome,
Kind of, yeah.
or is it
you
like
were-
a visitor?
You were getting really close with like not making yourself at
Jesus
home,
Christ.
or not making yourself.
Oh, you don't feel comfortable in someone else's home.
But yeah, I mean, it's basically the house of a person that you're not very close with. So you have to be careful and not touch anything. And basically, it's like a house where you don't feel super comfortable. You can't really make yourself at home.
When I was in Germany, and when I lived in Germany and I played soccer, one of the teams was a traveling team, and we played against other international schools in the European area. You know, so sort of in the area, and we would often do a stay with host families. You know, so teammates. Let's say we went to Amsterdam, we would stay with some of the families of our teammates.
Right.
And that was a very other house situation. Casa Ana. What was it? Casa Hana? Ana?
Casa ajena.
Casa
got the J in
Casa Ajena situation. Because it was very uncomfortable. One, staying in a stranger's house in a foreign country. Two, these are our competitors. So,
Right.
sometimes you get along with them. Just because they're competitors doesn't mean you hate them, but you don't always get along with them.
Right. Sure.
And it's just a weird sort of feeling where it's like, I just hated you a second ago on the field, and now I have to be yeah. It was, and then food is always weird in other people's homes, where it's like, this
for
is what
sure.
you guys eat for dinner every day?
Right.
Fucking weirdos.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, we can't all be 5-star chefs like you, Jart. That's for sure.
Thank you. And do you have any more?
I do not.
I'll give you one more.
Okay.
This one is I'm gonna do this Polish one. Ni uch oczka dziki robić. I'm sure I slaughtered it. Don't teach your father how to make children.
That's like, I think what that means is basically like don't give people your unsolicited advice. Like why you telling this father how to make children? He's already made babies. He knows how to make children.
Right. Yeah,
Right?
that's yeah.
I don't know a more smooth way to say it
No.
though.
Well, it's saying giving unnecessary or unsolicited advice, but it's especially someone giving advice to someone that knows more than that person. Like that's
Right.
that's kind of what that's specifically what it is.
It'd be
Where
like
it's
if someone like called you up and was like, "Hey, I've been hearing your drops on the Untranslatable podcast, and you really need to change things up." That's when you would have to say, "What is it again?
Yeah,
Don't
easy. Slipping on gator piss.
What was the phrase again? Don't tell fathers how to make children."
What?
What was the Polish?
Oh, yeah. Don't teach a father how to make children. Yes.
Yeah. Nice.
Exactly.
That's right.
It's like,
That's right. Although I agree with that. Although I will say, I am also a firm believer that you can learn something from everybody.
yeah, but I think there's a time and place, and you can
definitely.
and there a lot of times with those people telling people how to with those people telling fathers how to have children, a lot of those people are offering unsolicited advice
Oh, most definitely.
in situations where they're way out of their league.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Well, Jared, I think it's time for us to give our listeners some unsolicited advice. But I think
Exactly.
this is some advice that we have a little bit
betcha.
of expertise about.
I mean, I'll tell you this. For the most part, I'm only here I'm only going to speak on movies that I've seen.
Sounds good.
I have a list of only movies I've seen.
Well, let's hear them.
Okay, we just want to start running through them. Well, okay. So for everyone that I don't remember any of the French movies I saw. I saw a couple, and I don't really remember. So these are going to be all German movies, and we're going to start with the most obvious. I mean,
Is it
we
Lola
already,
Rent?
of course.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And I tried to look it up, and I couldn't even really figure it out. How is it that Lola Rent became the ubiquitous German movie? Because
I
it
don't
is.
know.
Every
It is
German
in
student
most
at
German
some point
classes in the
has
States,
seen
definitely.
Lola Rent, which
Right.
in English is Run Lola Run.
Right. I like the German title better.
Yeah, it's more succinct.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's just at least let me give you my kind of pedagogical
I do like
insight
it, by
to
the
it.
way. I do enjoy
I
the
do
movie.
too.
It's a very
I think
good movie, so that's good news. At
I
least
think
in
it's
my mind.
because it's really repetitive. I mean, if you watch that movie and you don't know,
That's a good.
if you don't know how to say Die Tasche after that movie, you clearly weren't watching it and you fell asleep.
That is a great point.
It's super
And
repetitive because the scenes keep replaying.
with only slight changes to each of them.
Yeah.
So not only is it you're essentially hearing the same thing over again, but you're also recognizing where it changes, and it allows you to sort of focus on different parts of that same dialogue.
Right. Also,
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Look at you.
I know, right?
Parada.
It's almost like I teach for a living or something. Weird. Really weird. But the other thing about it too is, I mean, if you look at the cast of the movie, a lot of them were super famous German actors. I don't know if that movie was their big break or not. I'm no German film expert, but the cast was really fantastic. I think it won.
did come out in the late 90s. I believe 98, 97 maybe.
Could be.
And I do know that the lead lady Lola, that's Franca Potenta, I believe is her name.
Yep.
She was. I don't
She
know.
was in
I
the
know she
Bourne
obviously.
movies.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know much about her career. I know she obviously has had a very good career, but I remember her specifically from getting shot in the face in a Bourne movie. I guess that's not all she had, but she also let Jason Bourne borrow her Mini Cooper and drive it
There you
down the
go.
staircase.
Nice.
But you keep
So
the
Lola
tire
Rent.
pressure checked on these things? Sorry. Yes, Lola Rent. And it's a very good movie, and it's essentially, so what it is, it's sort of like a butterfly effect movie, and it kind of is like a what if this happened, and it's a repetition of this same sort of scenario that's happening with slight changes to it every time.
Die Tasche.
And, which obviously gives different outcomes. Another one is, we've talked about this a little bit, Goodbye Lenin.
Oh, yep. That's a classic.
And Goodbye Lenin was directed by the same person that directed, that's the movie, right? Is that the one where he's spying on,
Oh, Das Leben der Anderen.
Oh, that's not. Excuse me. What's Goodbye Lenin?
Goodbye Lenin is when the grandmother
Right.
mother.
Yeah.
Doesn't she?
She gets into like a car accident or something, or gets some
car
sort of
accident,
injury.
and she wakes up after East and West Berlin has been reunited, but she
Right.
was a huge fan of East Germany, and so they tried to like keep her in the lie that it was still East Germany.
Right. And
it's
so
a
they
really
have like
heartwarming story, right? It's pretty funny. Yeah.
And one thing I liked about that, I thought that this movie I don't think was particularly good as like an educational piece for any specific reason, except for the fact that I genuinely enjoyed this movie. Because
Right.
I think a lot that's what a lot of the a big part of showing movies, I think, or learning from movies is you have to. I think enjoying it is kind of a
absolutely.
must.
Absolutely.
Because if you're just watching it because it's some sort of assignment and you don't really give a shit about it, it's not going to sink in really.
Oh, most definitely. And that also brings me to, I would just like to kind of take a step back for just a second. And so 2 tips I think that we can already take from these 2 movies that you've mentioned, Jared, is, so with Lola Rent, it's very repetitive. So that's one plus. If you can find some movies that have repetitive phrases, it's very easy to pick up on those phrases. And then the second good point I would say from what you said as well is, you have to find movies you like to watch. It can't just be an assignment. And that's why ever since I've graduated, I watch a lot of movies in German, some movies in Spanish. And at least the German movies, I'll watch almost whatever because, I'm a big language nerd and it's fun.
And you're freer with the German because you're not as bound to, like, if you watch a Spanish movie, obviously you're using subtitles.
Oh, definitely.
But I think even still sometimes you might want to find something where it's like, it's not so out of my league that I can't even understand what they're saying.
Right. Well, you know what I do with Spanish movies, and this will bring me to another tip for our listeners, is I rewatch movies I've already seen in English. So a lot of them are like Disney Pixar movies, which I know sounds kind of stupid, but a lot of these...
Hey, come on. Don't say that about yourself. Also, Disney movies are amazing.
That's true.
I don't think anyone of most ages would say a bad thing about some of the classic Disney movies.
That's true. So disregard that previous comment. But like I just watched a few weeks ago, I rewatched the movie Coco in Spanish. And so for those of you who haven't seen Coco, it's about a young boy named Miguel who wants to become a musician and a guitar player and a singer. And sadly, I won't tell the whole story. One, because our podcast will be 4 hours long, and two,
and we'll
because I don't want to spoil it. That also. But he wants to become a musician. There's this picture of a family member. He doesn't know who it is, but he sees him holding a guitar in his hand. But his family forbids him to play music, and it happens around.
And that guy's a celebrity in town as well,
right? And what happens is. There's for the Day of the Dead when in Mexican culture the families they call it the ofrenda, which is they have like a table with I think it's like food and pictures of family. That's when the dead can cross this bridge into the world with the living and see their relatives again. And that's all I mentioned. But so I saw it in Spanish. I have to say I think it was actually better in Spanish.
I can imagine that because I think that movie specifically. It's not dubbed. They probably recast a whole new group of very professional.
I think they used probably the same cast. I think most of them were bilingual.
Oh, so they all spoke Spanish?
I think the majority of them, yeah.
Well, there you go. Well, there you go.
Because the voices all sound the same.
Okay, because I was about to say, they have the benefit of, well, then there you go. I mean, that validates my point. They have the benefit of not having to, I thought, I was going to say, but I guess even recasting it, even if you get professionals that speak the language fluently, if you're recasting it, it's still going to be different because they're different people.
Right.
So yeah, if the same cast can speak speak it fluently or fluently enough where they can learn the language well enough to still play that, it's even better because you're getting the exact same acting, and you're getting the exact same movie rather than either it being dubbed or it being a new a different cast that might sound the same, but it's still it's not the same.
Right. And the thing with movies that are dubbed is it can be hit or miss. At least for me, it's funny. A lot of my Czech students, I think that the people in the Czech Republic actually put a lot of time and effort and do a really good job on the dubbing, because I've heard only positive things about the dubbing here in the Czech Republic.
Well, that's good.
I've heard even The Simpsons is really good dubbed.
Dubbing annoy. I think most times I would prefer. I think almost all the time I would prefer subtitles over dubbing.
Yeah, depends on the language, but I would agree.
And that's actually I'd say tip number 3 is use subtitles. Some people, I know some people that even in English, native English, my American friends or whatever, native English speakers prefer subtitles. I used to not, but I've kind of turned into a subtitle person. So even like when it's English stuff, and I think it's because I'm sort of, if I'm watching something which is rare, like on television, I'm sort of like such a naturally fidgety person that I think having the subtitles helps me focus a little bit.
Gives you something to do. Okay.
Right. And then obviously in German, I'm pretty good, but I don't know it well enough to understand every. I might be able to keep up with the plot, but I don't know every word they're saying.
Right, and I don't either. My German's good, but it's not native speaker good.
Right.
And the other thing with movies too is there's a lot going on. There's background noise, there's music, people mumble, there's slang.
Or especially for these German movies, a lot of them, and I'll get to some of these. Well, I guess this is one of them. A lot of them are also sort of the time, so it's like they might be using words that that are either that everyone knows but is kind of
They're
antiquated.
outdated. Yeah, they're archaic. Absolutely.
Or they're using very specific, like for example, this is a perfect example. I was watching that movie that I went to go see. What was that movie called? Never Look Away.
Yeah.
And the Russian commander had a military translator, and the translator was translating for the doctor while he was giving birth to the commander's wife. And so he was the German doctor was telling him all these he was telling him all these complex medical phrases, and after a point the Russian guy was like, I'm a military translator. It's like it's like ich bin Militär Dolmetscher. He's like, I don't know all these like medical terms, or it's like, yeah, I can understand and I can get along, but like that's just like way past like stuff that I have no reason to know, really.
Right. And I would also say with subtitles, if you're a true beginner, obviously put the subtitles in your native language if you can. But once you develop, I would say even up to low intermediate level, start watching movies with the subtitles in the target language. And I think it reinforces how the words are spelled. Sometimes I enjoy watching subtitles to see what they get right and get wrong, right? Like what I mean by that is sometimes
how they translate things.
Right, because the subtitles, some languages like German, the way they talk and the way things are written is a little different. So the subtitles will actually be different than same meaning, but different words and what they say.
Dude, this is episode 74 of the Untranslatable Podcast. If anyone understands that concept, it would be us.
That's true. That is very true.
Where it's like, so you can't always translate stuff. Like stuff doesn't always translate smoothly, which is exactly what we always talk about here. But that's another great part of watching movies as as a learning technique, is you learn a lot of those untranslatables. You learn a lot of that slang that your teacher, that's not slang, that's just a word, but that your teacher wouldn't teach you in a classroom.
Right.
And I think there's another thing. There's kind of two kinds of repetition. There's the repetition in the sense of Lola Rent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Die Tasche.
There we go.
Is that what you were
yeah, that's what you do to me when you want me to give a drop. So that's what I do to you when I need a drop.
Fair enough.
So that's what happens. There's repetition in Lola Rent.
Die Tasche.
Because it's repetition of a same scene over and over again. Mm-hmm. But there's also the repetition in the sense that, say, like it's a movie that you just want to watch over and over again, or say it's like a series, for example. Mm-hmm. And so, you're not repeating, you're not hearing a repetition of
Die Tasche?
Yeah, you're not hearing a repetition of the same exact thing all over and over again.
Die Tasche?
But you are hearing like a repetition of themes and a continuation of a story, and I think that sort of repetition helps, and that sort of helps with the engagement part. You're clearly into it if you're going to watch the second, like the sequel or whatever.
I think from now on, you just need to send me some drops and keep pointing at me. That was fun. I agree with you 100% though, Jared. And I think the other good thing about watching movies and watching the repetition is you see kind of how natural conversation happens. My problem when I started learning German was people would say something to me and I wouldn't really know what to say. I would say like, das stimmt, like, yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. But you can only say das stimmt so many times until it gets really boring, or people are like, is that right? Or if people are like, does he only know how to say das stimmt? Like, what's his deal?
Ja, stimmt. Yeah.
Right.
I do have some. I have some more examples of. I have some sort of. I have some ones that I would say are more
Mama hoo hoo
as far as good movies to watch if you want to learn, and I want to get your opinion as a professional.
Okay.
Die Weiße Band is my first one, and I'm going to explain why.
Okay.
It's a movie. It's a quote-unquote good movie, but it's a very intense movie.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And it's a movie that I don't want to watch it again. Because it's very graphic, and it's just very intense, and it was good in the sense that like it's well made, but it's not my cup of tea in any sort of way, really.
It's definitely more of like a kind of artsy, you got to think about it type of movie.
Right. Can you give quick, brief synopsis of it by any chance? Because I don't
God.
remember it well enough.
I should be able to because I've seen the damn movie like 3 or 4 times. I've seen it too many times. I think Das Weiße Band one time is good enough. It's about a small town in northern Germany. I think right before.
I can
right
just read
in
it if you
between
want.
World War I and World. Hold up, let me
No,
take
okay,
a stab
sorry.
at this.
I'm sorry.
And
Slipping
correct me
on
if I'm
gator
wrong,
piss.
but I think it takes place in like a small northern German town, right in between World War I and World War II. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are you reading Wikipedia right now?
No.
Okay.
No.
Because that's very good.
You know I'm not because the internet would be
That's
weird.
true.
I've minimized my notes to like almost nothing. So
job.
yeah, so it takes place there, and then there's I don't remember if it was like a killer or something. They were trying to find him, and like all the neighbors were like kind of like pointing fingers at each other. I remember there was a guy in the movie
good old fashioned
who was like
whodunit.
Right. And I remember there was like a guy who like had like a piano or a keyboard, and he invited some woman to his house. That's all I really remember about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's all we need. I just, we don't need to go deep into every movie. I just wanted to give at least a brief little explanation of why
But I don't think it's a good movie. Well, here's the thing. I think it's a good movie if you're learning German, and you're learning German because you want to know more about the history.
Well, that's the thing. When I watched this movie, this was not like a learning German movie that we watched. This was in a
This was
German
in Austria,
class.
wasn't it?
No, this was in this was one of Perry's classes. He taught a German movie class, and so at this point,
I was gone. I think that was the semester.
the
I was
second
still in
semester.
Vienna. Yeah,
it was really
okay.
cool. But at that point, it was obviously if you're in that class, you're expected to understand it, and he would put on subtitles sometimes.
Right.
But that was already kind of because we were more analyzing, writing papers about movies rather than actually like you should understand it well enough to be able to write a paper about it.
Right. Did you have to do the Phrases for him or whatever we called them?
Phrases? I've never even heard that word before.
The like the schriftliche Arbeit. We had to do all those.
Yeah. I guess it wouldn't be called Laser Journal because we weren't reading anything.
Anyways, sorry.
Yeah. Another one. Have you heard these two? I'll say these two together. Mm-hmm. Metropolis.
Okay.
Have you heard of it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Excuse me.
I don't think I've ever seen that one. I have seen Metropolis. Metropolis is a weird movie.
It's kind of like if for all of our American listeners that have read a book every now and again, it's very similar to say 1984.
Yeah.
Or what's that
That's
other
what
sort
George
of dystopian?
Orwell, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or what was that other sort of dystopian one? Oh, Brave New World. That's a similar sort of theme of sort of that, Orwellian, George Orwell, which is 1984. That Orwellian sort of future where, that's, how people way in the past look at the future and having that sort of government, the government state and that sort of control of everyone's feelings and how they comport themselves.
And see, I would say I would give Metropolis a thumbs down in terms of at least language learning.
Because it's a silent film.
Right. And it's a cool movie to watch. Don't get me wrong.
But it's also, it feels like, and listen, I recognize what I'm saying here. This is a family podcast, but it almost feels like that movie should almost only be enjoyed on mushrooms or something like that. Like it's just like it's so
it's weird.
Like
it's really weird.
It's very like it's this very dystopian future, and it's very existential. Mm-hmm. And
definitely.
And like what ify, like those ones we said. One that was big for me when I lived in Germany, and I've been talking this whole time. I'm sorry.
You're good. You're good.
One that's been big for me, the one that was big for me when I lived in Germany was obviously the cartoons, because one, it gives you the repetition.
Yep.
Two, in most cases, if we're talking cartoons, your boy knows his cartoons. So,
that's true.
Like, I know them well enough where a lot of the episodes I've at least seen once, and I at least know the general theme of these of these stories. So it's easier for me to follow along with them, even if I'm early on in my learning, I don't know the words well. So that's good.
Right.
I remember, obviously, a popular one, rest in peace, pour some out to the homie. But not only in America was I watching this, but in Germany I watched SpongeBob Schwammkopf.
Nice. I have to say, I love the fact that Squidward's name is Thaddeus in SpongeBob Schwammkopf.
I forgot about that.
I think that's perfect. Yeah.
is Tadeo, because that's just like totally different. That's not
That's a real name.
Yeah, that's
a
not
real
like
name.
a reference to a squid. They had no way
No.
to do a squid related. How do you say squid in German?
Well, isn't it Tintenfish or is that an octopus?
I have no idea.
I think Tintenfish because the squid's one with ink, right? Not the octopus. I'm pretty sure it's Tintenfish. Am I right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Parada.
Look at you.
So yeah, what would they call him? Tintenfisheos? I mean, what are you gonna call him? But Tadeus works
Tintenfishian.
because he's kind of a music snob, right?
Oh, right.
And I
right,
think of
right,
Tadeus, I think of Amadeus like Mozart.
Right.
I don't know if that's what they were thinking, but that's where I got.
And
that
Tadeus goes well with his nasally voice.
from.
Tadeus.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay. Another one that I enjoyed.
Can I stop you real quick? The other
Please.
thing about cartoons I forgot to mention is it's also cool to learn the catchphrases of cartoons in foreign languages. So the first cartoon I ever saw in German when I was in Germany when I was 14 was The Simpsons. And what catchphrase do you think I learned, Jared?
Eat my shorts.
Ausgezeichnet.
Right. For some reason, I
From
thought
Mr.
Bart.
Burns.
Right.
And it's excellent. And
How did Bart say "eat my shorts"? Do you know?
I don't know if he said that episode. I'm not
Okay.
sure. That was so long ago. That was 13 years ago.
That was a common one from, right? Eat my shorts.
Yeah, eat my shorts. Definitely.
Okay, just making
Or
sure.
Cowabunga dude was another one. I wonder how they translated that one. Cowabunga dude.
They might have just kept that one the same.
They might have, yeah. But it was funny. I was sitting with my German relatives, and they said something. I said, Ausgezeichnet. And they looked at me, because I didn't speak any German at the time. They're like, what the?
Oh.
Like, what? And so the repetition helps you learn it.
Yes.
I think it makes it fun. You get engaged with it. So, yeah. So that was my 5 cents?
There you go. Yeah, there's the 5 pillars to movie language education right there by yours truly. Have you ever used, you currently are and you have been an English teacher. You've also been a German teacher. Now I'm going to start with English. Have you ever used movies in any of your English classes? And if so, what have you used?
I have not.
Okay.
Because we just don't have the class time for it. At least here in the Czech Republic, our classes are
Right.
45 minutes.
Have you ever
If I
shown
wanna-
clips?
Oh, all the time.
Okay.
I've shown clips from really not from movies, but more from television shows and stuff. I've shown clips
counts.
from The Office.
We're
I've
not going to do a
shown
separate
clips
episode
from-
just for television shows.
Right. Although we could. But anyways,
Oh, yeah, we totally could.
I've shown clips from The Office.
That's a classic.
Conan, like Conan O'Brien.
Oh,
Has a
gotcha.
lot of really funny stuff. Like I taught a lesson about American culture, and we talked about Southern charm. And there's
Speaking
a really
of Conan, by the way, I meant to say this about the cartoons. Another good thing about the cartoons, maybe not Simpsons, that's not a great example, but cartoons like I like to watch, like not Family Guy, like that's also not a good example, but like SpongeBob or Hey Arnold or
Right.
Rocket Power or something like that. Those are also, kids shows.
Right.
So they're also generally the language and the speed with which they speak will be slower than some sort of adult show.
Oh, definitely.
And also, Germans like a lot of crime shows. Like that. There's a lot of those. If you're not into those, it's going to be hard to find a good show.
Tatort is a big
Yeah.
one in Germany. Tatort, if you like crime shows.
Which people do.
They love it. They love it. But yeah, so yeah, I agree with you though. And I would like to use more movie clips and stuff in class, but it's a lot of work to find the right clip. Make like when I use clips, I try to also really think about the vocabulary that's in the clip. What will my students know? What will I need to explain and teach them? So it can be difficult, but some of the teachers here in the Czech Republic actually do like a movie club where they just show a movie every Tuesday night with their students.
Czech movie or English movie?
English movie, American movies,
gotcha.
British movies. And the only reason why I didn't do that was I think it would be fun, but most of my students, like a lot of them speak really good English and they probably would already watch those movies at home.
Do you know what kind of movies they've shown?
All sorts of movies. Halloween movies during Halloween. I'd have to ask a couple of my friends. I'm drawing a blank right now, but all sorts of like your popular American movies.
Right.
I think one of my friends they showed. What's that movie? A Star Is Born. Is that the one with Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga?
I've never seen that movie, and I barely know what it's about. But for some reason, that song is just drilled in.
They actually, I was at the gym today, and like there's a stereo, and it's just whatever's on the radio. That came on. I was halfway through my set doing bench presses, and that came on. So that was interesting.
Yeah, it's everywhere, and I don't even. So I do know that movie. Yes, is what I'm getting at.
Right.
And everyone felt like it was snubbed at the Oscars. Tune in for our Patreon edition of the Oscars in German only, dude.
Yeah.
So I just thought of a great idea.
What's that?
Now, we should do, this is more work for me only, but I love this idea. We should do a spin-off podcast and I'm just going to say it on, because once again, I've totally blurred all those lines between off-air show talk and on-air show talk at this point, where we do some sort of spin-off show where we do it only in German.
Oh, really? All right. Yeah, we could try that.
You know, maybe only once a week or once every 2 weeks or something like that, but I think that would be cool.
What do you mean? Make it a part of the Untranslatable podcast or like a separate thing?
Well, it could be a separate thing, but we could probably still put it on the same feed. I mean,
okay.
But it could,
That's a good idea.
But like it wouldn't. I don't. But maybe we like wouldn't count it towards like it wouldn't be episode 82, but we would just have like
a little
that
bonus.
as a separate thing. But we could still put it on the Untranslatable feed and YouTube channel and stuff.
Okay.
Which, by the way, we have a YouTube channel.
We do. Check it out.
And we might be starting
podcast.
a German podcast.
That'd be fun. It'd be a good way to practice our German.
Yeah, I've been listening to that
yeah.
podcast, by the way. The one I told you about. And it's great because it's like real people's stories.
Right. So one thing I wanted to mention on this episode during the main topic is there's this amazing website.
It's real cool. I saw that.
That was actually updated on February 26th, so not too long ago. And it's called Language Learning with Netflix. And what's awesome is, so I apologize to all of our listeners out there who don't have Netflix. You probably know someone that does, though. So be that parasite, get that password, log on.
All those people that aren't giving 5-star reviews are the same people that are stealing other people's Netflix passwords.
That's true. And so what's really cool is you can pick the language. So I'm going to be in Berlin tomorrow. Tonight after this podcast, maybe I should watch a movie in German, brush up on my German, get my brain in Deutsch modus, right? Get it in German mode. And so I'm on the website right now. And so you can type in or select the language you study. So right now, I put in German. Your
Where's
Netflix
Lola Rent
country.
on that list?
I don't know. Let me look. I might have to go rewatch that. It is not. Sorry.
The first one on the list
not.
is a movie I did mention, though.
What's that?
The Lives of Others.
Well, see. Here's the thing, Jared.
I see what
you got to be real careful. You're in America, right?
Right. I see that.
Yeah. In the Czech Republic, the first one that comes up, it's called Dark. A missing child sets four families on a frantic hunt for answers as they unearth a mind-bending mystery that spans 3 generations.
Yeah, that's a Netflix original. And it's originally in German that I think they actually changed to English, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, nice. Good. There's a lot of Netflix originals, but what's nice is if I look at German, so for all of our listeners right now in the Czech Republic, if you want to learn German, there's 34 titles. I'm curious now. We're going to see...
There's 42 in the United States.
And I just tried... Go ahead.
Dark is number 1 is all I was going to say.
So I just tried English in the Czech Republic, and there are 500 titles.
Of course. Give me some that stick out to you in the Czech Republic.
I'll just give you the top ones. The Dark Knight, Inception, Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, The Matrix.
You know, I've never seen Lord of the Rings before.
What?
I saw one of them.
What? Wow,
but I don't remember which one it was because it was only kind of passively watched at a birthday party or something like that.
Gotcha.
Interstellar's
on
there. I don't really know much about it, except Sam and Frodo and Orlando Bloom has a big dong.
Oh, what? American Beauty is on here. Ooh, that's a classic. There are a lot of great English movies here. V for Vendetta, The Shining, the new Mad Max, Slumdog Millionaire, all these movies. Sherlock, Clockwork Orange is on here. Apparently, The Hangover.
I love Clockwork Orange.
So to all of our listeners in the Czech Republic, there's a lot of great English movies on Netflix you can check out.
Yeah. I mean, it's that's a benefit of America being America is for anyone that's trying to learn English. There's no excuse for not being able to find quality or English content, English speaking, and not even just American. There's great British content out there too.
Oh,
I'm a big fan
absolutely.
of the show Peep Show. I'm a big fan of. I used to be a big fan of. What was that show called? Can't remember. Sorry. I can't remember what it was called. But I do love Peep Show. That's a hilarious television show. That's on
Okay,
Netflix.
I've never heard of it. Okay.
And they're British, but it's a television. It's over. But it was great. Anyway, any shows you'd show? Anything you've shown any of your German classes?
Oh, good question. Well, we used to have a movie night, and so the kids would go to the movie night. Yeah, no, not really.
And I'll give you something.
I was also teaching beginner level German.
So
Not that
movies,
you can't use movies, but it's much more difficult.
a lot of them are going to be over their head.
Yeah.
Especially a full movie, because that'd be hard to
Right.
keep someone engaged for a full movie.
Right. And what's the point of showing a clip unless you want to highlight specific vocabulary or something, you know?
When I lived in Germany, I used, speaking of Inception, by the way, I watched an American movie in my German class to learn
In German.
German. Like the German teacher was playing an American movie, and it was Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Do you know what they call Ferris Bueller's Day Off in Germany?
No idea.
I do. It is Ferris macht blau.
Really? Ferris macht blau, huh?
I'll confirm it right now, but I'm 90%
I'm
positive.
I'm sure you're right.
Yeah, Ferris macht blau. Ferris
Okay.
Bueller's Day Off.
So is that a slang term for skipping school? I've never heard that before.
Maybe is this untranslatable?
This seems like it.
I always just assumed that it was. It is an idiom. It's an idiom for playing hooky. Holy shit!
Really? I've never heard that before. I've always heard Schule schwänzen, to skip school.
Ah, yeah. Where it says blau machen. Well, granted, this is a forum,
Okay.
but it seems legit. Blau machen and
Better
other
than
phrases
news.
for absenteeism. So yeah. It means to play hooky. That's the English. I have no idea what hooky means, but that's what we say here in America. Is
Which
playing
is
hooky.
funny though, because if you just
Or we
change
say
the
skipping
verb
school.
from blau machen to blau werden, it means to get drunk.
Oh, I thought that would mean get sick.
No, get drunk.
Okay, I did not know that.
Yeah.
You've said that before, though, haven't you?
What?
You've said that before, haven't you?
Maybe once or twice in my day.
Oh, I meant as an untranslatable. But maybe that's why they're maching blau, because they werd blau, you know.
Because they want to go get drunk. Yeah?
Yeah.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
All right. Let's see. Do you have any other movies that you want to talk about?
One of my favorite television shows. So the other thing is when you watch a movie in a foreign language or a television show, it's a lot on your brain. Like I feel exhausted, especially when I try to watch stuff in Spanish. I feel exhausted afterwards. German, not as much,
Right.
but still a little bit. But with Spanish, my favorite show. What do you think my favorite show was to watch in Spanish?
Telenovelas.
Actually, I did watch a
just
couple of
mijo.
those. There was one called, I think, La Señora.
One of those like talk shows where they're like hitting each other in the head with giant rubber hammers and stuff like that.
No, I'm trying to think where it was now. Like it was the woman of the South, I think. La Señora del Sur or something like that. I think it's a telenovela that was on Netflix in the States. I don't think I can get it here in the Czech Republic.
And that helps with that repetition
Right.
and engagement, I would assume. It's
Oh,
very,
definitely.
You almost
Lot-
feel foolish getting sucked in some of those TV shows. You're like, I'm better than this.
Right. But the one that
just a
really
soap
sucked
opera.
me in was Narcos.
Oh, yeah,
Narcos.
yeah. Although I will say I have heard that I'm sure it's great for someone learning the language, but that the at least for Colombians, it was very obvious that those were, I believe, mostly Mexican actors.
I'm not sure where they were from. I do know, though, that the guy who plays Pablo Escobar is from Brazil.
Okay,
And so my native
He's not
speaker
even a
Spanish
Spanish
friends, right? My native speaker Spanish friends told me they had some difficulty watching it because the accents for them they can tell. My Spanish isn't nearly good enough, so it didn't really matter.
It's like if we were watching, say, Django Unchained,
Right.
and Leonardo DiCaprio or Candy, whatever his name was, had like a Boston accent or something.
Right.
You're like, this is very confusing. Aren't you in Mississippi right now?
Exactly. But I think movies and television shows are a great way to learn language. I think in a fun and almost more realistic way, right? Because you're not sitting
More
there with a grammar book.
Applicable.
Yeah.
There we go.
Exactly.
Applicable way.
Very applicable. Exactly. Do you have any other tidbits for our listeners out there, Jared, about using movies for language learning?
Get off your phone and actually watch it. That's all.
Oh, that's a great tip. I like that.
Yeah. Because I do it a lot even when I watch, just normal stuff. As soon as it starts, I reach for my phone.
Right. That's a good point. That's a nice thing about going into the movie theater. At least for me, I still turn my phone off. I don't know if people even do that anymore. I don't turn my phone off, but I don't. I'm not. I won't look at it. I can not look at it, but I don't turn it off. Right. So just to recap for all of our listeners out there, some of the benefits and reasons why you should watch a movie. One, it can be very repetitive. For all of our German listeners out there, check out Lola Rent.
You betcha.
For our Spanish speakers, there's a lot of repetition, or Spanish learners, there's a lot of repetition in Narcos as well. Might be not the most, it's not like you need to tell someone silver or lead, because you're trying to bribe them, but you can still learn some Spanish.
What's a good English movie for repetition? I have an idea, but I'll let you go first.
Good English movie for repetition.
Or English-speaking movie. Obviously.
Yeah. I don't know. Oh, you're right.
With Adam Sandler.
Yeah, you're right.
That's a lot of rewinding.
That's true. That's a good point.
I have another one.
What's that?
Ooh, I'm so good at this game.
What's that one?
Memento.
I've never seen it. What is it?
Memento is all about a guy that lost his memory. Okay. And every day he forgets that he loses his memory.
Okay.
And so he has reminders of stuff tattooed all over his body.
Oh, interesting. Another one.
And so it's another one where it's a lot of repetition and him trying to remember everything and realizing that he's living a life even though he can't remember it the next day. So that's a great one as well.
Interesting.
And so
another
people
one.
like a lot of kind of subtlety in people and how people explain to him his own life.
Okay. Interesting. Another one as well with Adam Sandler is, what is it? Isn't it like 50 First Dates?
There you go.
Parada.
That is a great one, yeah. That's another great example of explaining a lot of explaining things to people.
Right, which is good. So there's a lot of repetitions in certain movies, which can be great. Don't be afraid to turn on those subtitles if you're a beginner.
For sure.
Use them in your native language if you're more advanced. Definitely use them in the target language. Or some other, just to recap our main topic
repetition,
today, Jared.
Engaging, and subtitles are my three big ones.
Yep.
And don't listen to... probably not good to start with silent movies if you're trying to learn a language.
True. I guess the last thing is there's a lot of awesome culture that you can get from movies as well. I mean,
you can learn
the stuff that I've learned about Mexican culture from Coco, and I've talked to some of my friends who are from Mexico, and they say the movie actually does it pretty good justice.
I've seen a lot of German movies that do a great job of, and of course, off the top of my head, I can't think of like any specific examples, but that sort of do a good job of showing that sort of keep to yourself and don't really make odd and end conversations while you're, like we do here in America. Like that I've seen that portrayed well, and it's a great way to understand how people sort of carry themselves as well, especially if it's a modern movie.
Oh, definitely.
You're not watching for example, some sort of Nazi movie, which are a lot of German movies.
Yeah, unfortunately. Well, another way to learn a new language and just to enjoy yourself is listen to some great music. I have to say, Jared, you have picked a fantastic song for this episode. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
So this song is called Fire by the River. Fire by the River. And it's sang by a Japanese man named Harumi. And Harumi is traditionally a female name. But that sort of is just like the beginning layer of sort of this mystery behind him because people don't really know much of anything about this guy. They know that he he came to New York and recorded this album around 67 or 68. and it with a very famous producer named, I believe, Tim Wilson, and he's produced a lot of famous albums that a lot of anyone that knows anything has heard of. But no one really knows anything about this guy. Some say he could be dead. Some say he could be back in Japan. Some say he could be walking amongst us here in America because Harumi is not his real name. And there's also a very sort of mixed reviews on his style of play. Some people think it's beautiful, and I think it's beautiful too. At least the song. I haven't heard the whole album. I've heard a couple songs though, not just. And some say it's very derivative, which essentially means he's kind of.
What do you mean by that? Yeah.
Which essentially just means that he's copying themes that have been already done and kind of just sticking them together. He's just stealing other people's sort of sound is essentially what that means.
Okay. Interesting.
And he's not really doing anything unique. But I think that's unfair. One, that might be a fair critique. But I think that's an unfair thing to put on him because I think that happens a lot with any sort of era of music, especially once the sort of sound has been set. This sound, at least this song came out, this album and song came out 68, 67, 68. It's believed 68. And it's a very sort of flower power hippie-ish sort of rock song. And I think it's an unfair assessment on this song because that's how a lot of eras go in music, and a sound is established and sort of stuck to. That's why people can listen to a song and be like, "Well, that song's from the '60s, that song's from the 2000s or whatever." So I think that's an unfair assessment. And I think the guy has a very beautiful voice, and I think almost subtly, maybe I'm tainted because I know this, but you can almost also kind of subtly hear that he's not a native English speaker, and I like that sort of effect on it.
And I never thought of that before.
And
interesting.
Maybe that's just the sort of the what's the term? The placebo effect of knowing that. So I don't want to put too much on it. But he has a very nice voice. I like the beat kind of sounds almost like I don't know, the Monkees or something like that. Mm-hmm. Or like some Beatles, a little Beatly. And he's got one of those very 60s voice. In the 60s,
the whole sound is 60s-esque. It's great.
During that time, a lot of the male singers have that like almost slightly falsetto high voice. Mm-hmm. And yeah, he has that too. But it's very nice. Where it's like a lot of the singers, some of them were children. Some of them sounded like they were children.
Right.
But it's great. I like it. And it's a very nice song.
I like the guitar in it, all the drum fills. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yep.
So check that out on our Twitter, Harumi, Fire by the River. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yep.
And very, very enjoyable. All right, Jared, are you ready for your weekly Czech test? Even though really we should be doing a German test, but I already know your German will be on spot, so I'm not too worried about it.
I have been telling you that, I told you once. The last episode 73, that I edited, the editing took way longer than it needed to, both the audio and video version, just because I kept rewinding the Czech part just to quiz myself and be like, how do you say that again? And like I'd pause it and say it and then rewind it.
Right. Hey, that's a great way to learn it, though.
Editing to a little lesson.
All right, well, give me a recap.
You'll love to hear.
Right, give me a recap then, Jared.
So some of the ones that is now stuck in my mind is Yaksemash. Mm-hmm. I guess it's not fully stuck in my head. Yaksemash, which is how are you? Mm-hmm. Dobrý den is good day. Dobrý večer is good night.
Very good.
Ahoy or ciao is like hello or what's up.
Parada.
Parada is excellent, I guess. For a hot second, I forgot what that is, and I click that thing all the time.
Right.
Prosim.
Пожалуйста.
Is please.
Mm-hmm. How do you say thank you?
Yakuye.
It's with a D. Dziękuję.
Oh, right. Dziękuję.
There you go. That was pretty good.
And dziękujemy is obviously we thank you. Dziękuję is thank you. Dziękuję.
Yep.
Dziękuję. Not dzia, but dzia.
Dia.
Yeah. Dziękuję.
Good.
That's a weird sort of sound because you go to the A and then straight to like an ah, like the low. You go from sort of a, that long A straight to a short A.
Right.
Whatever.
Děkuji.
So we got that one. What?
How do you say what is it? Yeah.
Yes. So is what?
Uh-huh.
I don't remember to say what is it, but so is
So?
what? Because
Soto,
that's
yeah.
not, soto yeah. Because so is
Soto,
how
yeah.
you could also say like what did you say?
Yeah. So, or what are you doing? Do you remember that one?
Is it also soto something?
So de lash.
So de lash. Okay.
What are you doing? Soto yeah.
And I do remember, for some reason, I still do remember ne mam, which means I do not have.
Very good.
And you know why I remember that is from your story about losing your ticket at the at the club.
Yep. Good. Yep. Ne mam. Ne mam. Another good one. These two will be really important. Nevim. I don't
Nevim.
know. Nevim.
Nevim. Okay, I don't know.
I don't
Nevim.
know.
That's a new one. You haven't said this one yet.
I know. Yeah. I'm giving you two new ones for
Okay.
today.
Nevim. I don't know.
I don't know. And this one's a little harder. Well, here, I'll teach you the positive one first and then the negative, and you'll probably learn something new.
Nevim. I don't know.
So I understand is rozumím. Rozumím.
Rozumím. Let's stick with that for now.
Yep, rozumím. And I don't
Rozumím.
understand is nerozumím.
Nerozumím. So how do you
So-
say I know? Vím?
Vím. Já vím. Vím.
Ja vím or vím? Either of those
Já,
work?
yeah.
Or like, yeah, I know.
So the cool thing about Czech is you don't always have to use I. Because the verb conjugations, you get
the point.
Say, yeah, exactly. So you don't, I've heard já vím and vím before.
Okay.
So yeah. But anyways, the cool thing about Czech though is
Oh, ja is not I. Ja is I.
ja is I.
Okay.
The cool thing about Czech is to make a verb negative, you just put ne in front of it. So rozumím is understand. I understand. Ne rozumím. I don't understand.
So ne ja vím technically works?
Nevím. Nevím.
I know it's ne vím. I was just curious if ne ja vím would work.
It would be ja nevím.
Ja ne vím.
I
Okay.
don't understand, or I don't know. Sorry, I don't know. Yeah,
But you
ja
don't. But
nevím.
it's not even. Don't even worry about it. Just say ne vím.
I just say nevím.
Right.
Nevím.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Good.
How do you say another round? I remember you mentioned that one to me.
Ještě.
Ještě.
Jedno.
Ještě jedno.
Ještě jedno. Ještě jedno, prosím. Let's be polite.
Čekárna is bar. I do know that. Or is that just the
hospoda.
name of that specific
Čekárna
bar?
is the bar in Chomutov.
Oh, that's
But
a specific
if we
bar.
come here, we are going there.
Pivo is beer.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, very important. How much does that cost, or what does that cost?
Oh, yeah. Oh, and check please is Prožit prosím.
Platit prosím. You're pretty close. Or you can say
prosím.
učet. Učet
Right,
prosím,
učet.
which means check please.
Damn.
Platit prosím means pay please.
Platit prosím. Učet prosím. Oh, what was the one you just said before that? Sorry about that. I would like to pay.
Oh yeah. Or no. How much does it cost?
How much?
Kolik to stojí?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Kolik
Kolik to stojí.
to stojí?
Kolik to stojí.
All
How
right,
much does
that's-
it cost?
Yeah, that's
a
enough.
lot.
That's
But
enough.
that'll be
for now.
perfect for when I edit this. I'll probably edit this on the airplane, so that'll be enough for me to rewind back and forth a couple times on my
Right.
7-hour flight to London.
Exactly. Well, Jared,
I still have not
unfortunately,
bought an adapter, by the way, which I'm going to do after this podcast.
oh yeah, you should definitely do that for sure. I mean, I have one extra one here. I think.
I mean,
I'll have to find
that's
it,
probably
but-
fine then, because I only need my computer for podcast stuff.
Right, and I'll bring that. And I also, well, I'll talk to you about it after we're done.
Right.
But yeah, sounds
We're
good.
just so excited, people. We're so sorry.
We are.
We can't help it.
We are. And yeah, pretty soon we'll be having a lot of exciting content coming to you straight from Berlin and also from Prague, potentially also Chomutov. So keep your eyes peeled for that. We're looking forward to it.
Look forward
And-
to the new. All right, at some point we should spitball some German names for. And we should do it on the podcast. That'll be fun for our all German podcast.
Sounds good. Yeah. All
Was
right.
magst du? That's too easy.
Right. We'll talk about it. But anyways, I think it's time to give our listeners a quote. And just like the last episode, I'm freeballing it, improving up the wazoo right now. And
I like it. I like it.
And my quote of the pod today is, don't underestimate the power of movies and television shows to not only motivate you to learn a language, but to absorb you into the language and culture that you are learning.
I think we through our childhoods have been led to believe a whole bunch of BS, and that's that television rots our brains. Mm-hmm. I think that's a foolish thing to say. I know obviously there might be specific shows that are not adding anything to someone's life intellectually, but
Right.
just to say, television ruins your brain and it's just a waste of time is a foolish thing to say.
I agree. I think there's a lot of great documentaries, great movies.
Yeah,
The thing
we
about-
both have friends that have learned languages solely off of
music
television
and movies and stuff.
yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, it's a huge help. It's helped me learn German and improve my Spanish. I need to start maybe trying out some movies in Czech. I just don't even know where to begin. So any of our listeners out there from the Czech Republic, drop us a line and help me learn some more Czech through some movies. So yeah, so we hope you've enjoyed this episode. Gotten a few tips to kind of jumpstart your language learning through watching movies and television. Make sure you find something that can be repetitive. Definitely start with cartoons or movies you've seen before. Also, a lot of really good children's movies, Disney movie, Pixar movies are great to start with. And just enjoy it. Like Jared said, put your phone down. It's time to enjoy this movie and really, really learn from it and
You betcha.
Engage in it. So yeah, so we hope you've enjoyed this episode. As I mentioned, we'll be having a lot of all sorts of crazy things coming to you from Berlin and Prague. So keep your eyes peeled on our Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast. Shoot us an email if you have any additional tips for using movies to learn languages at untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. And of course, for our songs of the pod and all sorts of other great shenanigans, check out our Twitter, Untranslatable1 on Instagram. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or Stitcher. And also check out our YouTube channel to see Jared's beautiful face, see my flannels, and also always remember, keep up the laid-back vibes. And if you're a Bayern fan, enjoy Jared's Bayern jersey. So we thank you so much for all of your support to all of our listeners all over the world. It's such a humbling experience to see all of you out there enjoying our podcast, and we hope you continue to do so. And as we say here at the Untranslatable Podcast, Dziękujemy.